All right. Hey, everyone. This is Diamond Rivera, and we are back with the live discussions with Diamond podcast. And what you just saw was an amazing performance by our special guest tonight. And before we get started, this episode is sponsored by Through Bachata Radio. Also, you can find all of our interviews, over 170 plus interviews, including this one, on Spotify and other streaming platforms. And tonight, people, we really do have a special guest, a product of the new generation. Listening to this gentleman's story beforehand, privately, and understanding all of his experiences thus far, he's been able to grasp. Many people, it's hard for them to balance two things, let alone maybe four. But I think tonight as well, we can have a chance to appreciate someone that I see is leading a great path within our dance community. And it is a pleasure and an honor to have the one and only Josh Garcia.
Oh,
Josh, man, before we get started, when we were watching that video backstage, I could see both of us just like shimmying and hitting. And even when you hit that yell, I felt it. But most of all, Josh, I really appreciate you coming to the podcast tonight.
thank you.
Absolutely. Of course, we're going to get into a lot of things as well from just even that performance. Also, your work as an actor now. Recently, I believe you were just in the film In the Heights as one of the
Yes,
dancers, but also realizing everything in between and understanding you more as the human being besides just the artist that we see. So, Josh, for me, with every one of my guests, as we start, we love taking it back because we love what we see on stage, but it's also important to know how we got there.
yeah.
So, kind of help me and help everyone else understand who is Josh Garcia before the performances, before the costumes, before it all.
Um, Before when I was younger, I used to be a huge wrestling fan and not as much of a baseball fan, but I
Hmm.
still used to play baseball when I was younger. And at one point, I just kept going to my Kindle all the time. I just kept looking at dance videos over and over and over. But my
Mm,
parents didn't see it because they still saw me as I still like baseball.
yeah.
But at one point, I was getting too stressed out at baseball, and then they saw me keep going to dancing all over and over after the practices at baseball and the games.
Hmm.
And then they said, "Do you want to stop baseball?" And I was like, "Yeah, I want to stop it." And then they said, "Do you want to do dance? Because if you do dance, we're going 100% and 200.
Mm.
You have to." And I said, "Yeah, looks like I'm doing dance."
Wow. And then as we've spoken as well, learning that I believe you started at the age of 5. Am I correct?
Yes.
Well, and that's interesting because as we talked, I started at 5. I feel like 5 is like a magical number, but then also mean you playing baseball and then finding really the love of dance. So do you kind of remember your first class per se?
Yes, I do. My first class, it was at this summer thing, and it was one time a week. And it was perfect because it was on Thursdays, wasn't on the weekends. So my parents used to, yay, we could just do our things on the weekends.
Yeah.
And my first class, it was like I was having so much fun. And I'm like, yeah, I want to do this all the time, all the time, all the time, every day. I can do this all the time. And then after that, it became Thursday,
Yeah.
Saturday, Sundays.
Man, and that's interesting because it's hard sometimes to get someone's attention for those amount of hours and those many days. I think you've seen in our dance schools, there's not many people kind of revert to other sports. But what was it like actually in a class with other people your age?
At first, the first class that I took, there was two other people. I was the third one,
Hmm.
and I was like, I could do this. I could do this. I could do this. I could keep up. I could keep up. And my dad said I was like a sponge because whenever they threw like the water, I just absorbed it and I just took
Mm,
it in and always having a staying on point all the time. And I was
nice.
just dancing.
And then you would say your first style was salsa specifically?
No, it was hip hop.
Oh, and this was at what school was this again?
Nieves.
Gotcha, at Nieves Latin Dance Studio, and that's with Will Nieves. Wow, that's it. So was this in the Bronx location?
It was in the Bronx. Yes.
Gotcha, with Steven.
Yeah. Oh no,
Yep.
it was with Steven's cousin because it was the summer one. And
Oh,
I wasn't with
gotcha.
him yet.
Gotcha. So, you now kind of dedicating yourself to this. How long did it take for you, especially on the hip hop side, to kind of feel like you do have a grasp on this? Like you said, you were a sponge, but was it like instantly you got everything and you were ready for the next, or did it kind of take some time?
The my first choreo that I did, yes, I just took it and I was ready for the next step. But once I was like in salsa, I had to rehearse it over and over and over to
Mm.
get it because those are adults that were doing the choreo. So and I was the only little one that was there. So I was like, I have to really rehearse this, take it in, absorb it, and then just keep chewing it over and over eventually till I get it.
Wow, and like you said, that's also something that's really important because you just said how you transitioned into salsa, going from hip hop, and you were around more adults.
Yes.
For you, like you said, you absorbed it, but was it like a learning curve where you kind of, as they say, maybe intimidated by people who were older, or it was really comfortable throughout that?
It felt comfortable. Then of course there were some ups and downs once I was in the second choreo because my parents know when I was mad, like or like, not mad, but like kind of giving up, like, oh my god, I can't do this. Once
Mhm.
I started doing this, because I used to always like, oh god, I
Yeah.
can't do this. I would just put my hand over my shoulder pretending that I was stretching, but I was just really just stressed out.
Oh man, see, that's also something the it's different to hear because people have kind of signals on when, like, all right, I just need to relax because hey, I understand myself, choreography after choreography, it can all feel like a blur. And I've definitely had my hardships in rehearsals. For me, I've done even 8 hour rehearsals, 9 hour ones back in the days. I don't know how I did it, but I did it. So, for me now, working with Nieves, going from hip hop into salsa, what was that first, or how was that first show, or that first kind of not class, but how was that first performance for you?
I was already with Steven. I was performing with Steven. It was this group named the Candela Boys.
Yes, I remember that. I definitely do.
And my first performance was at a congress in Connecticut, and it was a surprise because no one knew. It just looked at like the same floor, and then they bring me up from down the stage, brought me up, and then I just went into the choreo, and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to go under the stage. Like
Yeah.
it felt weird, and then they had to pick me up from the bottom, and then thank God it was on time.
Man, and that's also something that I love hearing about the Congress life because I think many people don't get it. Of there's a difference of you take some classes, you maybe dance a few at a social here and there, but going to congresses with people your age or even older and that type of world. What was that like? Do you remember your first Congress that you went to?
Yes, my first congress was with the Candela Boys at Connecticut. At first, I was intimidated because I'm like, wow, look at all these adults. I'm like the only kid that is here.
Mm.
And I'm like, oh my God, I don't know if I could be able
Yeah.
to do this. And then I'm like, oh, I got this, I got this, I got this, I got this. You could do this. You're the best in yourself. If you could do
Mm.
this better than yourself, then you did good.
Oh man, and that right there really shows the true confidence in yourself because like you said, I think also, I don't know if you ever heard this quote, but we can be our harshest critics. A lot of times we're the ones that either choose to give up, they'll either choose to go on. So to see that you really persevered and pushed through and had that, what was the feeling like then after once you got off stage, after all the jitters were out, what was that feeling like?
Um, Afterwards, I felt very tired. 'Cause
Yes.
it was late. It was very late. It was like 10 o'clock, almost going into 11. And to me, when I was like I don't even remember 7.
Wow.
That was a very late time for me,
Yeah.
and I was very tired. Once we went into the car and go back head back to the Bronx, I was like, I just
Oh,
sleep
yeah.
in the car.
Oh my god. Hey, I definitely know that feeling as well. So, when was that transition from Nieves, and I believe then it was next to Kate's Dance Company, am I correct?
Yes.
How was that kinda going from, of course, you had kids around your age, but then you said you were more around adults, and then going to Kate's Dance Company, how was that transition for you?
The first performance that we did, it was with the Candela Boys. It was Kate's Dance Company and the Candela Boys for Puerto
Gotcha.
Rico tribute.
Mm.
And she liked me and asked me if I could go to her studio and rehearse with her fully. And then I kept going to. At one point, it was like over and over
Yeah.
and over. It was a lot. It was a lot for me, and it was like at one point at 12, I went to Nieves. Then I had then went back to Kate, rehearsed even longer, and it was just a lot for me.
Wow. So, like you said, you were actually doing two schools at one time.
Yes,
I mean, hey, you got a lot of knowledge, you got a lot of, teachings, but hey, that can be hard. And then you're also going to school.
yes.
So, what was that like of being, a regular kid? When you're not in dance, you're just a regular kid. Was it easy for you to balance having, friends and school life and dance life?
Very. It was very weird because of school. Because a lot of kids didn't understand what I used to go through in my old school, but now in my new school, they all understand what I go through, so they're really polite to me. They all know what's going on, and they're just polite. But
That's
in old school, they didn't understand very much.
gotcha. I mean, I've had that same issue. I mean, unfortunately, at one point, I think in 1 year of school, I missed almost like 20 something days in a year because of dance. And thankfully, I got it handled. But hey, I mean, that dance life, it can take a toll on you, especially if you're traveling on weekends and coming back the next week. But, you now, of course, working with Kate's dance company at the Candela Boys. And then you're within that group as well. Was it more you were being trained in hip hop, salsa, and various styles, or did you kind of stick to one thing?
It was various styles
Hmm.
because it was hip hop, salsa, contemporary, and then after that there was oh my god, it was a lot. It was a lot. Oh, and gymnastics.
Oh, wow. So what was that like of you going from just taking a hip hop class years ago, and did you feel like you were going to learn gymnastics, or was this something that was just brought up and you were like, okay, let's do it?
Oh, I was like, I didn't know, but I was like, okay, let's just do it. I'll eventually learn how to do those cartwheels and all that other stuff.
Man, hey, I mean, not many people, even kids your age, are able to do cartwheels. And I really respect Kate and that dance company, especially because she focuses on having her dancers be well versed, well rounded. And hey, you go hard in performances, that's how it is. So I definitely see that. So, for a question now that I have for you, working with both of those schools, what was the transition like, or how did you now? Changing to more of a solo position. How did that come about?
That changed more about because at one point we went to a performance for La Fuerza, like third year. It was a Christmas party, and Eddie Torres Jr. was there, and my dad was like, "Let's meet him. Let's just say what's up." And then after that,
Mhm.
we went, and he said he should come over to my class one day, and I went. I was like, "Oh my god, this is weird. I don't know how to do this," and then I went over and over. Then I became like a weekly and a normal there, and then
Mm.
I feel like I could go by myself and learn more of the mambo because I didn't know mambo. I knew it was more of a salsa.
Yes, and that is definitely different. And I think too, when it comes to body movement and shoulder placement and understanding music, it does take learning from various people at times. Like you said, you having the ability to learn from Will Nieves, learning from Caitlin Rodriguez. Now you're learning with Eddie Torres Jr. From that transition, there was that an easy transition, or were there kind of some bumps along the road?
There was a lot of bumps through that road because then I went to the audition for In the Heights,
Hmm.
and then at one point I was like, I put all my energy out in the Heights rehearsal, and then right after we had to go to the Kate rehearsal, and like I was super tired.
Wow. I mean, and so then now we can get to that, and that's really amazing to hear. As many people know, the movie In the Heights that came out this year was an amazing movie. I love the representation, but also not just from the adults, but also the kids, and learning that you were one of those background dancers. So, kind of give me and us an understanding of what it was like to be a part of that movie. What are some of the memories that you have from it?
I was very honored to be in the movie In the Heights as a background dancer because I was like, I there's a million and one chance. Like I could have never got this at all.
Hmm.
Like I was so lucky, like so lucky to be able to be in it. And a memory that I could always keep in my head that I'll always remember was the part in Carnaval de Barrio where they was just all dancing and like at least like 100 people that was there, like at least 90 was there. It
Yeah.
was all just doing the choreo and sync, and I was like, oh my god, this is amazing.
Wow. I mean, it must be that energy right there with everyone in sync, everyone dancing their heart out. I mean, just seeing people that look like us, that representation alone was amazing.
Yes,
And now it helps us understand that you went from playing baseball at a young age to finding a liking to dance, then it becoming a passion, and now we're giving you opportunities. But then, like you said, that transition into acting, and then that's something I want to get into, of understanding. I've met many dancers that have transitioned into acting. So was that transition for you? How was that moment like for you of making that decision to go from just a dancer and putting yourself on a bigger screen?
yes. It was very kind of fun for me to just
Hmm.
transition back into, like, at first it was just my first ever short film. I wasn't speaking in it, but I was the main character. So
Mm.
I'm like, this is just gonna be fun because I'm the main character, but I'm not talking. So this is just gonna be easy. Just
Yeah.
just body movements.
Yeah.
This is what I do. I dance. So this should be easy for me. I just do body movements for
Yeah.
fun.
Man, and so Josh, my question to you is then, besides In the Heights, what are some other projects you've been a part of and maybe you might have going for you in the future?
The things that I've been a part of, they're not mostly dancing, but they were acting.
Hmm.
But one was background for the Marvelous Miss Maisel, and
Mm.
the other one is that's I think it's coming up about next year. I'm not sure, but I played one of the tough kids in a Hulu series named Iron, and we're
Wow.
bullying under Mike Tyson, just trying to steal his money and stuff.
Wow. Wow, man. That is really amazing to hear. And you going from the dance floor to the dance stages now to a big screen and to TVs. I mean, and you're only 12. So a question I have for you is, thinking about everything thus far you've been able to do, and like you said at one point, you were extremely lucky to get that opportunity to be in the Heights for yourself, even at 12. And I think we've also talked about this. What are kind of your long term goals, maybe a year to 3 years from now?
In a year or 3 years from now, I just want to be a better dancer, like a better dancer, a better version of myself. Because I could look at old videos from now, like
Hmm.
old videos from back then, now, and I'll be like, oh, I'm way better than myself than back then. If we like had a feud, I probably win. But then there's some times where I look back a few months ago, and I'm like, dang, I can't beat myself now. And then it's like really weird for me. But like in the next couple of years, I just want to see myself as a better dancer.
Awesome. And do you see yourself long term staying the solo route, or do you ever see yourself going back to a team or maybe creating something of your own?
I like to see myself still in the solo route because if I know if I continue solo, I could then like just be myself and don't have to worry about other people. Like, oh no, they messed up, or then I have to mess up. Like if it's just like partner work or something,
Oh man.
being
So
by myself.
that's that, and it's interesting that you talk about that because now I think it helps us segue into my last section called the randoms, which is about 10 questions that allows me to get to know you better. And this will deal with dance, we might deal with sports, it might deal with school, it might deal with anything. So Josh, all I need to know is when you are ready.
Uh,
All right, we're gonna throw number one, we're gonna throw a softball question. What's your favorite color?
my favorite color is blue.
Mine too. I love that. I love that. All right, number two. If you could collaborate with any other dancer right now, if you could create a routine with one dancer alone side by side, who is it?
Jacob Lugo.
Oh, Mr. Jacob. Yes, I love that guy. I never know. Maybe that might be in the works. I love to hear that. All
I've
right.
worked with him before, so yeah, it
Okay.
could probably happen. Yeah.
All right. I love that. I love that. All right. Next question is, I'm going to give you some responsibility here, Josh. So imagine you were at your favorite event and the promoter comes up to you and says, Josh, I'm giving you the opportunity to tell me who is my closer for the Congress. Who are you choosing?
Oh, Shani Tamor.
Yes, Shani Tamo. And I believe, have I seen you in some of those videos from her classes?
Yes, I have been in
Yeah.
her classes.
Oh, man. Big shout out to Shani Talmore and the work that she is doing and continues to do. All right. Next question, Josh, is answer me this. If Josh is not dancing, he is doing blank.
I'm either one rehearsing on my acting, or if not acting, I'm just probably playing games.
Okay, okay. I like that. I like that. All right, number 5 is, do you prefer footwork or partner work?
Footwork.
I think that was an easy one as you love the solo round. All right, next question is, if you could meet one of your favorite celebrities of all time that you met already or haven't met, who would that be?
Mark Anthony.
Mm. And something tells me you may be seeing him soon, hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yes. All right. Next question, Josh, goes like this. If you could have your own store right now, what would the name of that store be?
Oh, the name of that store? Oh, oh my God. I don't have Josh's store.
Hey, there you go. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. I like that. I like that. All right. Next question here is, if you could have one last meal right now, what would it be?
Arroz Gandula with panin. And
Ooh,
a side of baked mac and cheese.
ooh, wow. And I'm assuming this is not a before show. This is like break time and you can eat your own food and do what you want.
Yep.
All right. I love that. I love that. All right. Next question is, hmm, let me ask you this. When you are performing, or actually, no, when you're not performing, if you're watching a show, what is something that you look for as a dancer from another dancer that really just captivates their performance for you?
To see their energy and their footwork to be clear, because sometimes my footwork can be clear. And I just want to see their footwork to like, oh, what can I do to see in them? Like, oh, I like the way how their energy is, and I like the way how their footwork is, and I like the way how their facials are, and the way how they react with the crowd.
Absolutely. I think we talked about that as well because I think the biggest issue I have is when somebody has all the energy up here, but when it gets to head level, it's just blank. And I
Yes.
know that could be an issue at times. But, just seeing your experience and seeing the people you worked with, I definitely believe you're in good hands. But my comes down now to my last question here. And I'm going to ask you this. So, Josh, imagine you are on an island right now, and you can only have 3 things with you. You're stuck on an island for a day, and you can have 3 things with you. What are those 3 things?
Well, I can't dance over there because there's no music,
Okay.
and I know for a fact that there's no internet over there because I can't be able to use my hotspot. So the three things that I'm probably gonna have to use is my Legos, so I could like
Mm.
build, have fun over there. A camera, because I'm probably gonna like take pictures and stuff,
Okay.
and food, and
Hey, there you go. I mean, if you can have arroz con candule and pening and baked mac and cheese there, I think you'll be just fine. And but Josh, I thank you again for doing this segment. I love doing it at the end with all of my guests. And now it kind of helps us transition to the closing of our discussion. But there is something that I wanted to talk to you about because, realizing to have you on this platform for me means a lot because I
thank you.
was once in your position at 12 of balancing school and dance life and a lot of times losing sleep, a lot of times maybe not going out to with friends because I have a show or rehearsal. A lot of parties I missed, but just seeing how focused you are and how determined you are. A question I have for you lastly would be, for a person your age or maybe even younger who strives or wants to be a dancer and maybe in this community, in this scene, what advice would you give them?
to never give up. And if people like try to like say that you are not good enough, just show them to your heart, show them personally that you are, and you could always be better than yourself.
Oh man, I love that, man. Because to be honest, to see that much confidence you have is inspiring. Because again, kids, adults, even our ages, can be harsh. I mean, we travel, we perform, and a lot of times we beat ourselves down. But to see the confidence that you have at your age is really amazing to see. Because I think it's also going to motivate other people as well. Because to see you on those stages with those costumes, with that shimmy, with that facial expression. It's so much energy. It's sabor, it's flavor. And,
Thank
for me, just having you on here is an honor because I know 5 years from now, you are going to be one of the leaders, in my opinion, because already the mindset you have is sharp. The people that you have around you care, and you have a path rather than just allow someone to do everything for you. I see that you're goal oriented. But for me, again, it really was an honor to have you, a pleasure to have you today.
thank you.
But before we do go, I would love to know if you had any last few words for myself and the audience, but also info on how people can reach you and see where you're up to next.
First off, I want to thank my parents, and second off, I just want to thank everyone that's been with me since my Instagram and all that stuff, since day one, basically. Since they met me, and they always supported me over and over, and I just want to really thank you because of that. And you could find me on Instagram at Josh G Dancer.
Man, amazing. And here, Josh, here
Oh,
at the
oh, one more thing.
absolutely.
I just want to thank my acting coach and dancing teacher, Johnny Rivera and Shawnee Tamor.
Oh my God. Yes. Big shout out to Shani Tamoa and Johnny Rivera, both people that I know and both have had on this podcast. And you here are another addition to that. And for me, it just shows growth, progression, and just realizing when we help one another out, the possibilities are endless. And yeah, of course, Josh.
There's no more. And I just want to thank Eddie and Princess.
All right. Hey, of course, Eddie Torres Jr. and Princess Serrano. Yes, we definitely have to thank them as well. All of the hard work they're doing in New York City and abroad. But Josh, I thank you so much. I thank your family for believing in you and you know going on this journey with you because you have a not just a long way to go, but you have a great road ahead. And I'm happy to see how you've gone so far. And here at the podcast, we support you 110%,
Thank
and
you.
we'll be promoting you. So thank you again, Josh, for tuning for coming on. Thanking everyone who's tuned in that will be tuning in. This has been a great episode. Man, we're hitting almost 180 episodes, and honestly, Josh, this was
Congratulations.
thank you. This was a very memorable one indeed because speaking to someone that I know 5 years from now, you're going to be traveling all over the world if you want. And, I can't wait to see that. Everyone, too, as well, check out the comments after this episode that are flooding in. All of the love and appreciation, Josh, that you are having here. Again, everyone, thank you for tuning in. It's been a great episode here. I'm Diamond Rivera with the one and only Josh Garcia representing the Bronx. And everyone, stay tuned. This guy is going places, and we will be there to see it. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Have a great night. Stay safe.